don't want to spend as much time working on like just like the market map and things that would like be super valuable for people, and like how you can like use it today if you're doing direct to seller marketing, and like how you can pick the best areas to market and just use really high quality data to do that. So when you get into the dashboard specifically, this is a tool called the market map. So we kind of know the best people that we need to reach out to, and now we're trying to figure out like where are the best areas to focus on, like what have the highest returns, like what are the best like areas to flip in versus buy and hold in, and things like that. And anyone can come in here and download one county for free in the market map. You just have to go to our site and just get started for free, and you can follow along with me as I go through this. So this is completely handcrafted and generated by our team, by hand with the GIS team. GIS is like geospatial. So the first piece, when we move over, and I just jumped over to this neighborhood tab, you can see the top neighborhoods that have the most investor transactions from greatest to least. So at this first mark here, you see South Hilltop. So if we scroll up on the neighborhood and just put in South Hilltop, you can see that this tiny little block in the last 9 months has gotten over 34 deals. So an example would be on how you can use this in your business is, say you're just starting out and you have a very limited budget. You can go door knock in this neighborhood or put door hangers in this neighborhood, or maybe you're doing some direct mail campaigns. Like you can put so much of your marketing efforts into this top neighborhood and then go down because it's already been proven that there are people actively buying there. So the first thing I'll do is I always like to kind of like take a quick glance at like this table first, but I'm always going to want to go up and actually export this to CSV. And what this CSV is really breaks down essentially what I see here on this table. So just to open it up real quick, I prefer Excel over Google Sheets. I think it's a little bit better. And people can use the market map to get a good sense as far as like, this is what it looks like from, maybe it's a good like landlord market versus flipper market. And you can also use this to really know if it's a good wholesaling area just by the sheer amount of investor transactions that are actually happening. So what we tell people to do is when they're breaking this down over the last 9 months, I'm highlighting this whole 9 month column, and you can see that there's just shy of 2,000 homes there. So that means over the last 9 months, there's 1926. So I'm just going to copy that. So this represents the total transactions. And now we're trying to capture as many of those as we possibly can through our marketing efforts. We generally recommend that at least 50% of your marketing efforts should be covered in the zip codes that you're targeting. So what we're trying to say is if we divide this by 2, it's right at, call it like just shy of 1,000, so like 950. So you can basically highlight all of these until you get right at about half of the market share that would be in this market. So if you look at this, this is about 993. So just right at below half of the total amount of investor transactions that have happened in this market. So a really fast way to like improve your marketing is you just want to target these zip codes that cover half of the market share that's actually in your market that you're doing. It's probably like one of the fastest ways you can improve whatever you're doing is from a marketing perspective. First, high level overview. First thing we'll always do is go check the median home value, and it's right at that 250. Come up here and go to zip codes, export to CSV. Make sure we put in the 250. I always like to put this up too, so it helps you visually. So put median. And we also want to come down and check. So this is the top investor transactions. And then hop back over to Texas Bill. So the top here is, or sorry, the total here is 569, but this zip code clearly dominates. So on 569, we have like so much math, like 285 roughly. So that would put us at basically these zip codes here. So you really only have to target these top 5 zip codes and you'll have a huge impact. So this is what this one looks like. Same process as before. Make sure you switch to overview so you can see the median home value. And that is like right at the 195 mark. And we want to come up here to get zip codes. And then we're going to export this. We're going to put I think Median home value was, I know I just said it. It is right at 195. So 195. Make sure you add that in. Median. The total amount of investor transactions is really high, to 2469, which is a ton for 9 months. Transactions. Cool. And then we want to find right at maybe, I think it's 1250. So about this amount of zip codes. So this one has a right at 13. And I will say this is a really, really active market, just as like kind of a prerequisite there. So if you go to Tennessee, this is actually the county that I grew up in. I would imagine it does not have a lot of investor transactions. So you can see it has 18 compared to, the one that we just looked at, I think had like a couple hundred a month. When you're talking about flipping or not, this is kind of where it's like more of a science, and we'll switch over to Knoxville because this is my market and I know it really well. So in this market here, the median's right at that 364 mark. And if we hop over to the zip codes, anytime that it's about 25% above the median or below, that's where you're starting to see the flipping side. So say for just round math, it's 100,000 is the median home value. Anything that would be 125,000 to that 100,000 is probably a flipping zip code because it's right at or slightly above the median home value. Anything that is below or considerably below the median is almost always a rental dominant area. And just to kind of further iterate this, when you're talking about, I didn't highlight this yet, but when you scroll down to like the home prices, there's also like a rental market. So it can tell you the percentage of renters versus owners. And I know that this zip code, which is 37917, is a really good rental market. And I'm guessing it has a really high rental count. Basically anything above 30% of this zip, basically anything above 30% of the area that you selected is going to have a lot of rental potential because there's so many people already renting there actively.